that's going. We can change it up if we want to. Keep me guessing, keep me guessing. Keep me guessing, keep me guessing. It's like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's not hard to say how I feel. It's like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's kinda easy now cause it's real. Hey. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Well, hi everybody. How are you? Okay, I hope the sound is good tonight. So, you notice my wine is already almost gone. I've been watching election returns. Lupe, thank you for being out there making calls to get people out to vote. It is freaking scary sometimes what's going on. Sorry, you guys. I just... after the catastrophic nutso-ness of Florida, this is my own opinion. Oh, gosh. Oh. Anyway, yeah, I've been watching Rachel, and I needed to come down and read stories and feel in a safe place again. It's frightening when a lot of times election results makes you feel like you're not in a safe place. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm going to say hi to everybody and I'm going to stop that. And yeah, I had dinner. I had a brownie and wine. No, that wasn't dinner. Actually, Bob made me hamburgers and a salad. And then I had a brownie and wine. Because I needed to. Oh. Anyway, story time, you guys. It's just good to see everybody here. Lupe is here. She's lurking because she is still calling folks in California to turn out the vote because it is only 6:30 and there is an hour and a half left. People could get out to vote. And Linda is here. Thank you. Oh, gives you moon vibes with the mica powders. I haven't checked that out. I'm going to break out some mica powders because Layla and Lachlan are coming this weekend, so Layla and I will have some fun. Got a mask for her to wear and everything. And Linda sent an email to Tamara. It's done, the Canvas one. It's going to take longer. Angie's cooking. Oh, yay, Angie. Larry, we're totally spoiled, aren't we? Yeah, totally spoiled. Namaste to Tamara and Linda and Larry. Yes, and you know, I edited Larry's picture, leathers, and I'm going to show them on Friday when I do art again, Thursday and Friday, because I've been gone all day. I got this done last night, and then I came home about 5 o'clock, and the election results were coming in, and it just kind of threw me for a loop. So I'm going to show those later. So we're just going to do stories tonight. Watching on the big screen. Ooh la, hey y'all. Hi Gail. Larry gave an apple for the teacher. And Travel Dreamer here. Fatima, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Gosh, you guys, it's nice to have everybody here. Yeah. Hurricane Nicole, namaste, yes. Politics are depressing. Yes, they are. They really are. And so I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm really glad that my daughter, who moved to Arizona for her work, is up here in Gig Harbor during this time. Just because she would be having a total meltdown about all the kinds of things that are happening in Arizona right now with the intimidation at the polling places. And yeah, the right to bear arms is one thing, but bearing them around election places as an intimidation tactic is a whole nother issue. That did I just open my mouth? Yeah, I did. I'll shut that up. Sorry. Make a matter and get rid. I can't even watch it. Makes me nightmares. Yes. Hi, Angie. How are you? Nice to have you here. Good. My moon phase is taking on a life of its own. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have to show you. I wonder if it's here. If it's on here. Mount Rainier, the big fella. Okay. We have Mount Rainier, the big fella, is out tonight in full force. I did a quick live. I pulled over the side of the road and did a quick live. So if you guys, Nathan was on, saw it, and so did Janice. But let me show you real quick if I can. There. Okay. That's Mount Rainier on my drive home tonight. When we say the big fella's out, the mountain is out, that's what we mean. This is out at the marina by my house. As I drive by the Long Branch Marina, the sun was on it, and then I waited a little while. I did a video, a bit of it, to show, and that. It's so pretty. So Larry lives like right over here. I don't know if it shows up over here on the land in the far area right there. That's Tacoma area. And those over there, right along that area. Yeah, right along that area is part of Tacoma. So somewhere over there is where Larry and Angie live. I live a little further down here. That image is not the best, but it was on my phone and I was expanding it, so I wanted to show you guys. When all gets crazy and I can look at Mount Rainier covered in snow, because it has amazing glaciers, but the glaciers have been receding like crazy. But to see it covered in snow today is just the thing that makes me happy like you cannot believe. So, Maria. Tam's art is Tamara. Lupe is Maria. Crunchberry's Playhouse is Angie. Lechapata is Linda. Travel Dreamer 46 is Fatima. And I am Larry. And Larry's translating for us. Thank you as to who we are all. We're all incognito in some ways. I'm waiting for Michigan results. My family is in Arizona. Yeah, my daughter moved to Arizona, and she's as liberal as they come. And my cousin is in Arizona and was standing next to Gabby Gifford when Gabby was shot, and Pam was shot also. She has worked with Gabby for ages, and Mark Kelly. So yeah, that whole really big stake in that. I have not watched the news. I know. One best and all are frustrated at Gretchen. Thanks, Linda. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, it's just Mount Rainier. Yeah, Mount Rainier is gorgeous. It's rough when I think for all of us it's rough to see things have happened in such a way that you wonder what's happened. What happened to people being accepting, I mean, of others and of differences and you know, good grief, it's just so much. Anyway, we're so lucky to live here. Yes, we are. That's so beautiful. It's so wonderful to live up here. Mount Shasta, oh yeah, our sweet too, yes. Mount Shasta, I drove by Mount Shasta when I was coming back from Phoenix, and it frightened me because Mount Shasta literally in the past 5 years has lost so much of its snow and glaciers, even more so than Mount Rainier or the Olympics. It was like it had no snow on it, and that was frightening. And that was a month ago, and it's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be that. I remember in high school camping in the foothills of Mount Shasta and just having the snow. Mount Whitney, beautiful. Yeah. Haleakala. Oh. I just had lunch and it stuck to the roof of my mouth. Peanut butter on crunchy white bread. Ah, that's the extinct volcano. Maui. That's snow covered and gorgeous. Ah, I got it. Common sense and civility. Volcanoes are awesome but scary. Yeah. But you go to Yellowstone, she says, volcanoes are awesome but scary. Tamara, come up here. I'll take you to Yellowstone. And yeah, it will feel a bit tense, but the power, that you're walking on top of a volcano that is just meters below you. Whoa, it's amazing. If Gretchen turns to her left, there is one of our properties, and straight at the mountain is another. Then to the mountain and turn right is our third little spot on the planet. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold it and we'll go back to the mountains. There we go. Okay, let's go to the other one. Picture this one. So yeah, we live in a beautiful area. The whole of California is extinct volcanoes. So they didn't get rain, no snowpack, no water. Well, so you guys want to hear something crazy? Okay, this is crazy stuff. I'll know that I am born and raised in Eastern Washington, the daughter of an apple farmer. Tried and true apples, pears, peaches, apricots, cherries, that whole thing. We grew fruit, had close to 1,000 acres from the lower valley to the upper valley. And Eastern Washington is essentially a desert. Gets about 8 inches of rain at the most a year, including the snowfall. So everything has to be irrigated. The Columbia River, everything comes from irrigation. So the type of apples that grow in Eastern Washington are designed to thrive in a dry climate like that with not a lot of irrigation and that type of thing. They work that way. Golden Delicious, Galas, Fuji's, Red Delicious, Jonathan's, Wine Saps, Honeycrisp, all those kind of things are all Eastern Washington drier weather type of apples. On the west side of the mountains, where rain is prevalent, 35 inches and above a year easily in this Puget Sound area, there are also apples that grow a lot, but they're the west side apples. We call them the west side apples, at least the apple farmers do. We call them the west side apples. They're a whole different kind of brand. They don't grow as big, but they grow and here in Taylor Bay we have trees up and down Key Peninsula that are wild, that have been here for ages, since there was a guy off of Captain Vancouver's boat that jumped ship with a bunch of apples, and yeah, there's a whole nother story. Anyway, so those apples usually grow like crazy and crazy. We have tons of them. They fall off the trees. They're all over the place. They're things. So a year ago, our apple tree in our backyard had hardly any apples. Our apple tree in our backyard is grafted with 4 different kinds of what I call Eastern Washington apples. Red Delicious, Galas, Fiji's, and not red, no, Goldens. Yeah. Okay, so 4 different kinds of Eastern Washington brands. Had a terrible crop a year ago. Nothing. Everything else had the wild apples all over the place. This year we had the driest summer ever in the Pacific, over here in the Seattle, Puget Sound area. The wild apple trees, everybody's complaining what a terrible crop they had. My backyard tree, my one little backyard tree that is full of Eastern Washington apples, apple grafts, is chock full. I mean, my lawn is covered because everything fell off while I was gone. There's tons of apples. Crazy, crazy. Anyway, that's my little thing. Thank you all for subscribing to Julia's, yes, Southern California Underground Liquid. I'm only guessing currently facing away from the bay right now, otherwise to your right. Oh, okay, okay. And Belfair. So the picture that I have, Larry, that I put up, so this is the Long Branch Marina, and this is out in Long Branch past Lake Bay. So Belfair is like actually completely behind where I'm taking the picture, due west about 20 miles, where my sister lives. She lives in Allen. Yeah. Oh, nice. Anyway, Jonathan apples were my faves as a young child. I love green apples now. Granny Smith, yummy. Jonathan's were my dad's favorites. And when they sold their apple orchard, Dad put into the contract on one of the orchards, put into the contract that the fruit from this one Jonathan apple tree would be his for the 15 years, first 15 years of the contract. So that the mom could make him his apple pies and his applesauce. Seriously, yeah, he put it in the contract. He carried the contract, so that was the thing. All right, enough of this craziness, Gretchen. You're just babbling like a crazy girl. All right, first story. We're continuing with illustrated by Frank Morrison. And the book, though, that I'm going to read first is called Uncle John's City Garden. And it is written by Burnett Ford. And she passed away in 2021 from cancer. She was the author, editor, and publisher, a great champion of children's books by people of color, and highly regarded for her expertise in the mass market arena. She was born in 1950, and in a 2010 interview with the Brown Bookshelf, she recalled an early childhood in which books gave her a solace and escape as she dealt with feelings of fear and loneliness in the face of her mother's illness. And she taught herself to read before kindergarten, and by high school, she had entertained thoughts of becoming a writer. So that's who wrote the book that I'm going to read first, and it's called Uncle John's City Garden. And here we go. And if you've ever, city gardens are amazing. There's several books out there about city gardens, and I absolutely love them. Frank Morrison did the artwork on this one. It was created with oil paint and spray paint on illustration board, which seems to be a combination that he enjoys using. And first off, before I jump into the story, look at the proportion he uses to illustrate Uncle John versus the kids. I think that is just so fantastic. I love that. Let me just unlock that one and drop it down a little bit. Hey, don't do that. Come on. Oh, well. Oh, there. That's what I'm trying to do. There we go. Oh, that's not what I was trying to do. Bring to the front, and then I can move it. There, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it smaller so you could see the whole picture. There we go. I had the overlay wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Everyone called me Little Sissy. And I'm going to do... I was the smallest brother. I was the smallest. Brother was much bigger than me. Sister was smaller than brother. Still, she was bigger than me. But our Uncle John, he was a great big man. If we three laid ourselves out on the floor, head to foot, we would be taller than Uncle John. We even tried it. The first summer we worked in Uncle John's garden, we thought it was the biggest garden in the city. When we looked up and up and up, all around us was tall, tall buildings, all brick, all the same. Right in the middle of the projects was the garden. That's what everyone called it. We stood at the top of the little dirt hill and looked down at the garden. There was no plants yet, just fresh raked dirt. We jumped off the hill to the garden below. Each of us got to pick our own packs of seeds. Brother chose corn and lima beans. Sister chose tomatoes and onions. I chose okra. When we told Mother, she laughed. She said we were growing succotash. I was glad. I love succotash. Uncle John had already done the digging and raking. He showed us rows we were each going to plant. He wrote on some cards and stuck them on sticks along the rows. I had one long row for my okra. Sister had 2 rows for tomatoes and onions, and brother had 3 rows. 2 for corn and 1 for lima beans. Uncle John had lots and lots of rows. Uncle John gave us each a shovel. My shovel had a short little bitty handle. Sister's shovel had a handle a little longer than mine. Brother's shovel was even longer, but not as long as Uncle John's. His was as tall as brother, almost kind of like Goldilocks. While Uncle made little hills with his shovel, we used ours to dig little holes in the hills. Then we dropped our seeds into the holes. Supper and succotash. Oh yeah, it is beautiful artwork again. After we finished planting, Uncle John brought the hose. He helped us gently water our rows. We were tired and thirsty, hot and sweaty, but we felt good. We could hardly wait to see our garden grow. As the weeks passed, Mother took us to work in the garden almost every day. We pulled up weeds and picked off bugs and watered everything. Our plants had grown a little bigger. First, just a tiny little seedlings, not even up to our shins. Then the shoots grew a little more, and one day, my okra was up to my knees. A while later, my plants would be up to my waist. The okra would someday be almost as tall as me, with beautiful flowers. I thought the okra pods would never appear. Look at the look on her face. Like, More time passed, and then one day, as we were about to leave for the garden, the sky grew dark. The clouds were thick and black, and thunder roared, and lightning flashed, and down, down, down the rain poured. The wind began to blow. We couldn't go. What would happen to our garden in this storm? Would my okra ever grow as tall as me? Well, they said our plants would come to no harm, but we didn't think so. Boom, boom, crack, bang. How could anything grow? During the night, the storm stopped. Next day, the garden smelled fresh and clean, and everything was all pretty and green, and our plants had grown. Some were the same size as Sister. Brother's corn was almost as tall as Uncle John, and the tomato plants were as tall as me. One of the tomatoes was so big I needed 2 hands to hold it. We were so happy we couldn't help but jump up and down and hoot and holler. Uncle John showed us how to pick our crops. He gave us bags to put our vegetables in. Brother had a big one for his corn and lima beans. Sister's bag was not as big as his. My bag was little, like me. We picked a lot of vegetables, but every day when we came back, the garden had grown some more. Look at Uncle John's beard. Oh my gosh, look at that. I love that. And the legs, how Morrison uses that extension of the legs. Summer was almost over. Soon we would have to go back to school, and all our cousins and uncles and aunts came to the garden for a big barbecue. Uncle had spread out tables, a long one for our cousins, a shorter one for teenagers, and the shortest one for Mother and the other grown-ups. Uncle John cooked chicken and ribs and burgers and even cooked up some succotash. Best succotash I ever tasted. At the end, we picked and wrapped up vegetables in big brown paper bundles, and we had grown so much food, everyone got to take some of our garden home with them. Sister, brother, Uncle John, and I stood at the top of the little hill and watched our garden in the golden sunset. Uncle John gave us a great big hug. We would come back again next summer, and we hoped summer would come soon. The author's note. This is an almost true story. When I was a little girl in the 1950s, my Uncle John lived in the projects in Canarsie in Brooklyn, New York. He and my mother were the youngest of 7 surviving siblings born on a plantation in Louisiana, where their father worked and was in charge of the other black laborers on the plantation. All the children had to work in the fields. Everyone eventually left the plantation as young adults, but Mother and John never stopped loving to grow gardens full of food and flowers. When the building of the projects was ended, the huge, deep excavation for the final building was left empty, and Uncle John got permission from the city to grow a garden down in that hole. I visited that garden often as a child, but I never got to spend a whole summer working on it. I wished I could have, and now, in this story, I have. She has her recipe for succotash. You guys can screenshot that if you want. Wow. Huh. Has okra in it. Never been a fan of okra. Woo. So that's that story. And I have one more for you guys too. The other one is by Frank, is illustrated by Frank Morrison too. And the author, though, is somebody different. Oops, what happened? Where'd it go? There we go. Go back. So what do you guys think of that one? I mean, his illustrations are so amazing, but that story of building a garden, I don't know about you guys, but Dad always would plow part of the orchard. We'd get to have a garden in between the two first rows in the pear orchard right outside the back door, and that was always a fun thing to do. Bob didn't enjoy gardening quite like I did because he had to pull every little weed out. We had a tractor. Dad pulled in ditches and tilled it and everything, and it was kind of ready, set to go. But we grew corn and carrots and all kinds of wonderful things. With my grandmother, we'd grow lots of fun things. So anyway, yeah. Is in the book. Succotash recipe. Who else I know does? What is succotash? Succotash is what I think it is corn and lima beans and okra and a bunch of vegetables all put together. It's a southern dish. Not one I'm real fond of, but you know, I'm like anything, it can be made wonderful by how it's cooked. All right, so okra grows, yes. Family eats a lot of okra. Bob's family ate okra a lot because they were from the South. I had never ever experienced okra at all. Being a tried and true Northwest girl, okra does not grow up here in the Northwest. It just does not. And yeah, it grows in the South. And Bob's mom served it and they liked it. And I'm not. He puts it in. He'll sometimes put it in something that he makes. Is it not jambalaya? It's something else that he puts okra in and disguises it so that I don't know. It's, you know, he's a good husband. He disguises those things. All right. So the next book, today's theme was dig deep. And this was, the garden story was the digging part, the deep, the whole the family that worked together and the stuff they did together and all the kids and learning those things. The next book is a different kind of dig deep. And if you saw on the end of the opening things, there was a quote from Wilma Rudolph that said, "My doctors told me I would never walk again. My mother told me I would. I believed my mother." And she went on to be an amazing Olympian, an Olympic champion. And this book is called The Quickest Kid in Clarksville. And it's by Pat Zietlow Miller. There she is. What does she say about herself? Here she is. There she is. So she has several books out, my books, about me. She has some great pictures about herself. She knew she wanted to be a writer ever since her 7th grade English teacher read her paper about square dancing skirts out loud to the class and said, "This is the first time anything a student has written has given me chills." Mrs. Mueller rocks. That's why I decided my picture book, Be Strong, to her. That's why she dedicated it. She started out as a newspaper reporter and wrote everything about dart ball and deer hunting to diets and decoupage. And she joined an insurance company and then another, and then edited their newsletters and magazines. Now Pat focuses on her favorite thing, writing picture books. She sold 23 books and is always working on one. She's a wonderful husband, 2 delightful daughters, and pampered cats. And she doesn't watch much TV, but she does love Chopped. She lives in Wisconsin. So there's some pictures of her. And she is the author of this book that is also illustrated by Frank Morrison. And it's called The Quickest Kid in Clarksville. Let me see if I can get that. So you can see the picture. Let's see. Is that one better? There we go. The Quickest Kid in Clarksville. Now this one is another one that has the strange layout on my iPad versus how it's showing to you. So I'm pulling it up on my phone, so I'll read it off my phone and show you the images where you can see them best. Here we go. I'm running in place, listening to my feet pound the pavement, pretending I'm the fastest woman in the world. Of course, Wilma Rudolph, who grew up right in this town, is faster than anyone. But I'm the quickest kid in Clarksville, Tennessee, and everyone around here knows it. I'm thinking about tomorrow's parade and wondering what Wilma's 3 Olympic gold medals would feel like hanging around my neck when a girl I've never seen before comes sashaying my way like she owns the sidewalk and everything on it. She sticks a hand on her hip. Let's see if I can make those pictures bigger for you. Oh. There. There it is. She sticks a hand on her hip. I'm Charmaine. I look at her up and down. I'm Alta. That's Dee Dee and Little Mo. Got me some new shoes, Charmaine says. Boy, howdy, does she ever. Brand new, only been worn by her shoes with stripes down the sides and laces so white they glow. Shoes to strut in, shoes to run in. Because Charmaine's strutting hard enough to shame a rooster. That's my favorite line. And her legs are just raring to run. These shoes are like Wilma's, she says. My daddy went uptown to get them. I stare at the concrete. I don't have shoe buying daddy. My sneakers have holes in the soles and laces that never thought to glimmer. I bite my lip. It's okay. Wilma wore a leg brace and a flour sack dresses before she got big. Shoes don't make you fast, I say. Charmaine's face tightens. Reckon I'm faster than anyone. I puff up like a spittin' cat. She wishes she were Wilma, but I'm the real deal. I point to the mailbox. There and back. We crouch low. Dee Dee and Little Mo count down and we're off. My sneakers slap a sidewalk beat. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph. I reach the box first, turn and sprint back. Arms moving, legs grooving. I hear Charmaine huffing and puffing behind me. I do a victory dance while Charmaine glares. I'm still bebopping when she takes off again. To the corner, Charmaine calls over her shawl. Starting now. I leap after her like a scalded frog. Wilma's come from behind to win some of her races, and so will I. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph. When Charmaine reaches the corner, I'm nipping at her ankles. Bodies lunge, feet tangle. I fall, Charmaine stays up and wins. Ouch! My toe hurts. Probably because it's poking out of a brand new hole. Just like that, I puff up again. You tripped me. I would have won if you didn't. You were in my lane. I won fair and square. Charmaine walks away, shaking her braids and swinging her bottom. I follow mad as a cat. That's when it happens. My toe hits a rock. That rock hits Charmaine. For a minute, Charmaine looks like she might fight, but she leaves without a word. I limp home, feet dragging, head hanging. I show Mama the hole. She sighs. Oh, baby girl, those shoes have to last. When parade day dawns, I'm making a banner with Dee Dee and Little Mo. Then Charmaine struts by like she's the queen of the block. I scowl at her. Then I pick up the banner and nod to Dee Dee and Little Mo. Let's go. Thing is, that banner is bulky. No way I'll make it all the way to the parade. Might be easier if I run. I force my feet to move, but one block in, I can't go on. I hear the beat of feet. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph. Charmaine is running by me. Pass that here, she says. I clutch the banner tighter. I don't need her help. Come on, says Charmaine. We'll do it like Wilma's relay. 3 people ran it with her, you know. I hate to admit it, but she's right. I hand her the banner, and she takes off for the next block. Then Dee Dee takes a turn, and even Little Mo. We run faster and faster till our legs are nothing but a whirling blur, just like you-know-whos. People stare, eyes popping, fingers pointing. You go, girls, someone calls. I sneak a look at Charmaine. Her feet are flying. Who's faster? I can't tell, but Charmaine isn't strutting or scowling. She looks happy. I don't mean to, but I smile. Charmaine smiles back. And all at once, I know. Shoes don't matter. Not as long as we've got our feet. Look, I say, the perfect spot. We collapse on the curb. There are flags, bands, noise, black faces, and white ones. And finally, a fancy convertible with the top down. Right there, holding a bunch of roses, is Wilma Rudolph. We scream and raise our banner, hearts pounding, heads hopping, hoping. Oh, Wilma sees us and smiles, and she waves. That makes Charmaine and me sashay like we own the sidewalk and everything on it. And maybe, just maybe, we do. Because we're the quickest kids in Clarksville, Tennessee. And everyone around here knows it. And the author's note. In 1960, African-American sprinter Wilma Rudolph was the fastest woman in the world. At the Summer Olympic Games in Rome, Italy, she became the first woman from the United States to win 3 gold medals at the same Olympics. Her wins in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and the 4x100 relay with Martha Hudson, Lucinda Williams, and Barbara Jones made her a household name. She met President John F. Kennedy and received awards including the Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year in 1960 and 1961, the James E. Sullivan Award, which honors character, leadership, and sportsmanship, induction into the U.S. National Track and Field Hall of Fame and the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame. This is a picture by George Silk in the Life Picture Collection of the Getty Images. Wilma's success was even more impressive because of the difficulties she overcame growing up. She was one of 22 children. Did you get that? I had 2 and barely survived. 22 children. And her family did not have much money. I guess Wilma was often ill as a child and wore a leg brace after she was diagnosed with polio. Doctors didn't think she would ever walk without it, but she exercised and worked for years until her leg was strong. Wilma grew up in Clarksville, Tennessee, a segregated town. There were separate schools and doctors and restaurants for black people and white people. After Wilma's victories, Clarksville wanted to honor her with a parade and a banquet. Wilma said she would not attend unless the events were integrated, open to everyone. The organizers agreed. This is 1960. And Wilma's celebrations were the first major events for blacks and whites in Clarksville history. Wow. Wow. Okay. Another one. Frank Morrison's completely different style. Still you see the long extended the legs. But his work, and I didn't see what he did as the artwork for this, what he used. Oh, come on, go back. Go. There we go. See if it takes me and tells me what the kind of, let's see. Illustrations in this book were rendered in watercolor. So everything else we've seen has been in oil or oil and spray paint, and this one was done in watercolor. So very cool. I hate lima beans too. Yes, Linda, I hate lima beans. Oh, the art is fine. Yes, I'm glad you guys. So Wilma Rudolph, I can remember hearing about her as a child because I was totally into track and field and totally a runner and watching that and watching those Olympics. I think I remember watching them on TV. They were some of the few things we did and watched. Julia thinks the idea of succotash sounds disgusting. That's hilarious. Okay, I gotta pull that recipe up for her again. Where did it go? There. Uncle John's garden. Hang on. This is too funny. Okay, you guys may crack me up. All right, we'll go to the end. Here we go. Let's go back. Okay, Julia, here is the recipe for succotash. Adult supervision required. So you know, it's questionable whether any of us could make this. tablespoon of olive oil, 1/2 cup fresh or frozen cut okra, or a small fresh zucchini diced. I'd go for the zucchini. Chopped onion, clove of garlic, 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes with their juice, 1/2 cup of water, 16 ounce package of frozen corn kernels, 16 ounce package of frozen baby lima beans, and a 1/4 cup chopped fresh basil. So most likely succotash that they made was all done with fresh lima beans and fresh corn kernels, which would make it tolerable as long as you use zucchini instead of okra. Add the onion and garlic, add tomatoes, and there's a picture of it. See, you know, I think the reason that a lot of us don't like succotash, do you guys all remember when they served that in the school lunches and you had to eat it? And our lunch cart came down the hall of the school and they put it on your plate. You had to eat it. And that was one of the vegetable things. Ugh, yuck. Microbeam. My family had I put the recipe for succotash in the chat. Ah, thanks. And microbeam it, no water. Microbeam it. Microwave. Oh my gosh, I love microbeam. I'm going to say microbeam from now on. It goes in gumbo. That's right. Okra goes in gumbo. When Bob makes gumbo, he puts okra in it. That's right. Yeah, see, Bob's whole heritage is Southern. You know, North Biloxi, Mississippi. His mom was pure and bred down there. And just, my husband makes chicken seafood gumbo with no stuff like that. Yeah. That's an ingredient that's a natural thickener. Oh. Poi, I've had poi. It's not my favorite, but I prefer it over okra. Helen would be giggling. Yeah, Helen would be giggling. Poi and spam. Spam, 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 spam. I taught with a guy who was a judge at the National Spam Cooking Contest. Every year, he always took days off of school and would go to the National Spam Cooking Contest, and he would judge. Yeah, that was J. Michael. A lot of spam. Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. Back in the day before the Cook For You, huh? Mac and cheese, devil ham, and hand-me-downs. That was my life. Spam, mac and cheese, devil ham, and hand-me-downs. Yeah, hand-me-downs. My kids, hand-me-downs, my oldest daughter, we always shopped at consignment stores. And I would take her in to buy clothes for school. And she would go and find all these wonderful things that she liked at the consignment stores. And from the time kindergarten, first grade on, and I would give her $20, and she would come out with like bags of clothes. And she would be so excited. She did this. My mom sent her a gift card for Lamont's, which Larry and Angie will remember Lamont's that used to be up here. One time when she was, I think she turned 10, and sent her a gift card to go back to school for $30. Big deal. And so Annalena took it to Lamont's to go shopping. This is a girl who was used to shopping at consignment stores and getting tons of clothes that she wanted to. She walked into Lamont's, and for $30 she could get like 2 things. This was 25 years ago. And she was just stunned. She was like, "What? I can go to the Treehouse consignment store and get clothes that are cute, and I can get tons of them for the same $30 that I could get 2 pieces at Lamont." She could never. Yeah, that was a big lesson for her. Scalded frog. Oh, I know, like a scalded frog. Some of the things like that, and strutting her like a rooster. Oh my God. He's just bragging on me. All right, I love this story. I'm glad you liked it. The story about Wilma Rudolph, I really do love, and the art is awesome. So that was, I think, the last story I'm going to do about Frank Morrison. There's another one I'll do at Christmas time. He has one called I Got the Christmas Spirit. But, I might do Kick Push tomorrow night because that's a cool thing. But just as an aside, extra to another one. Anyway, you guys, it has been fun. I've been babbling on for almost an hour here. So one family, what the heck? I know, Angie, 22. My eyes, when I read that, boo. I mean, Bob's mom was one of 12 kids. And I thought that was a lot. And yes, I taught in Monroe, and there was a faction of a group of people out there. They're the Lestadians. They're of Finnish descent, and they have enormously huge families. And I can remember one of the little girls coming to me saying, I'm so excited. I'm going to go to Alaska this summer to meet my sister for the first time. And her sister was 25 years older than her and had been married and moved to Alaska by the time she was born. And they had 13, 14, 15 kids in the families. But 22? Holy Ned. Yeah. Those kids never make enough money. I love that school teamwork. And I think that's one of the things I loved about this book, about the quickest kid in Clarksville, was the fact that the behind message of working together, that they put aside their pride, the hurt feelings, whatever, and they became friends through this other thing, through this type of thing. It didn't matter about the shoes. They got to where they wanted to go, and they did the relay team thing and all that about working together and teamwork, and it didn't really matter, and the friendship that they came from it. And it's those underlying messages within these kind of books that I really, really, really love. After 14, you pay no income tax. Oh my gosh. It's a big veggie garden and all the kids plant it and look after it. Yeah. Mexican jumping bean. I love Mexican jumping beans. I always love to play with those. Any salad, yummy. Yes, bin salad. Indians grew corn and beans together so that beans. Yep. Oh, yeah. Tell John I like him already, Julia. No okra in the gumbo. My kids would dig down in the car when I went to. My kids, seriously, Bryn couldn't stand anything that if it was too hard or it had tags. So she loved consignment shopping because everything was soft. And there was even, okay, you guys have to see this if it shows up. One last thing. So if I can get this picture up. Oh, it's not going to show. Let's see. I thought I got a screenshot of it. Oh, there it is. So here is a screenshot I took on Bryn's Instagram stories today. That's baby Rory. And see the sweater that she's wearing? So that sweater, my mom knit for one of her grandkids, one of Bryn's cousins at some time. I'm not sure which one it was for. I think it was for Brandy, who is 45 now, and it got passed down, so it's still being worn. So Rory is wearing that. So hand-me-downs are a thing in our family, and hand-me-downs are proud, very, very source of pride. Family here with parent conferences are crazy. Oh, Fatima, I know. Seriously? You're a teacher too? So it was the coordination of those families' conferences was the first thing we always had to do when we were planning parent conferences for those families. Like, what? Because we had at least 7 families from that group, that religious group in our school community, and every teacher had at least one of them. Every grade level had at least one of the kids in them, and to coordinate them so that the parents didn't have to come back 12 times. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm going to hop off here. I'm just looking through all these comments. I want to see everybody. I know, isn't she a cutie? What a doll. This is Baby Goo. She's my Baby Goo. They nicknamed her. Can you see the curls? She's got my curls. Yeah. Rook called her Baby Goo after me because I'm Grandma Goo. And since she's got the curls like I do. Yeah, that's my baby girl. That's my little one. She's a year and a half. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, she's a year and a half. Quite the girl. Anyway, you guys, thank you all for coming here tonight and for lifting my spirits. I really needed this. I really need it. I thank you for listening to me babble, and even after I've already had my glass of wine before I read the stories, and but helping me fill my bucket. I hope I filled yours a little bit. I just needed to get out of my headspace on that other stuff that's going around, and to share these wonderful books. It's always just goes to show that there is something about community when you're sharing things that you have a passion about, or that are something else that take you outside of what is pulling your focus from the creativity or for the positivity. When you pull back in and find that, it really makes a big difference. So you guys make a huge difference in my life. You really do. You give me such drive and such encouragement, and I just love doing this. And I thank you each and every night for being here. And if I bring something for you, and if this brings a little bit of fullness to your bucket, if the art gives you some inspiration, if it gives you an idea to look at your own art in a different way or to see something, then yay, I've done. It makes it every little bit of effort worth it, and it's fun to do. It's fun. It really is fun. It brings me a great deal of joy. So, until next time, you guys, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. The first place you'll find it, well, is in all those avatars of everybody that's here in the group. And you'll find it when you go look in your own mirror. It'll be looking right back at you. Until next time, you guys, take care. See you tomorrow.